Good morning Year 4 and welcome to Wednesday's writing lesson. So today is our first lesson in our new writing books. So I just want to make sure that everybody has got the right book and the right page for this video. This video is going to be for the children who have got the writing booklet, which is targeted at Year 3 questions. So if you've got this booklet, then this video is for you. Now for today, I want you to turn to the first page. So you can see we've got our contents page here and then we've got our first page here. Now we are working through this page and the next page today. So you can see that I have highlighted here. I've got question 1, we're going to do that today. I've also done question 2 and question 3. Now you can see that I have highlighted in pink there, that is for tomorrow. So for today's learning in your writing books, you're going to be working through questions 1, 2 and 3. Okay, so let's just make sure that everybody has got the right page and the right book for today's learning. Okay, before we begin having a look at our writing for today, we're going to start off with our usual spag starter. So we're going to look at our spelling first, and I want us to try and spot my spelling error. So it says, the dolphin dived into the deep blue sea, and I've even added an expanded noun phrase in there for you as well, and you can see deep blue sea is my expanded noun phrase. But we're in a spelling part, the spelling section, aren't we? So I need you to spot my spelling error. Can you see my spelling error in that sentence? So I'll read it once more. It says, the dolphin dived into the deep blue sea. Okay, so it's quite a tricky one, this is. It's not as easy as it has been in previous spelling starters. So if you can notice it before I get my pink pen out. Okay, have a look at what you can see. And you should have noticed that my spelling error is dolphin. Okay, and it's here, it is the f sound, and it's not actually spelt with the letter F. Okay, so I'm going to put SP just above where dolphin is. And although if we sounded it out phonetically, it would have the f sound, but we don't use the F letter in the spelling of dolphin. We use two letters which combined together also make the f sound. Okay, so I've got my D-O-L, so doll, and then I need to have the f sound. So if you know the two letters, you can tell yourself or out loud what two letters make that f sound. Okay, and it should be P and H, and then I can have I-N at the end. If you did notice that at home, well done. And I've had some really fantastic emails where children have been sending in the spelling errors to the Year 4 email address. So I know that you are working super hard. So well done for those children that have been sending in some of the extra work as well. So you can see my spelling error for my first part of the section for spelling was dolphin. And it was a really tricky one because it was the sound that it makes, and we didn't use the usual F letter for the f sound. So well done for those of you that have spotted that when you've been watching this video. Okay, so we're going to tick off spelling and we're going to move on to punctuation. So I want you to see if you can identify where the missing punctuation needs to go in this sentence. It's time to start your work. So that's often something that you might hear a lot of with teachers at school. So it's time to start your work. And I want you to really think back to yesterday's punctuation starter. What technique did we use? It was with two words which are put together, and there was a punctuation that we have to use in that situation. I'll read it once more, and I want you to look really closely on your device now. Where is that missing punctuation? Because today I've got my full stop and it's correctly placed. So where does my missing punctuation need to go? It's time to start your work. Now hopefully some of you have noticed that you could actually have this sentence saying, it is time to start your work. But I've taken the is out, haven't I? And I've combined it together and made it to the word to say it's. Now if I am putting those two words together, I need an apostrophe. So well done for those of you that have noticed that I needed an apostrophe for after my T and before my S, because it's two words that are put together and I need to abbreviate it with an apostrophe. So I'm going to put my P just above that word there, and I need my apostrophe. So it's is abbreviated from it is. Okay, so my punctuation for today's starter is also complete. So now let's move on to our grammar. And I want you to identify the adverb in this sentence. Well done to those children yesterday in your writing that did identify the word unexpectedly as an adverb. So well done. Talia, you did that, so that's brilliantly. There was lots of other children that were able to answer the word class question in yesterday's interview. So well done. What I do want you to do now is to use that knowledge and try and identify the adverb in this grammatical sentence. The sentence says, the kettle slowly boiled. So remember, an adverb is telling us how an action is done. So boiling is the verb, so the kettle was boiling, but how was it doing it? The kettle slowly boiled. So well done if you notice that slowly was my adverb, and we are getting much better of our knowledge of word classes. So well done Year 4, you're doing fantastic with your grammar in our starters. Now let's move on to our work for today. So it's our first day, isn't it, for our writing book. So it's not comprehension, there is a reading element to it, but it is to teach us how to write correctly. Our learning question for today, so the purpose of today's lesson is that we are beginning to understand how to plan a write. Now we do plan in school and we do a fantastic job of planning in school, but I want to look at it on a broader term. So in your books you're going to be looking at these two key terms. We've got purpose and audience. So some of you might know already, if you know what the purpose means, the purpose of a text, and you know what audience means when we think about planning a write, then you can tell yourself or anybody who you are with now before I move on to it on the video. Okay, so when we are talking about a purpose, it means why are we writing? What are we writing for? Okay, so what is it that we are writing? So I'm going to put here what we are writing, and I'm going to come on to this later on in the lesson because in your booklets it will come and talk about purpose in more detail, because sometimes there are different elements of purpose, the reason why you are writing a certain text type. So, but the main part of this is the purpose is what we are writing. Now that brings us on to audience. So when we say audience, that means who we are writing it for. So it could be that you are writing it for somebody else. It could be that you are writing it for an older sort of generation. It could be for younger children. It could be possibly for a friend. So the audience is who you are targeting that for. Now, if you are in my set for literacy, we actually did a non-chronological report on how to keep your garden wildlife friendly. And we recapped these two key terms in school, didn't we? And we said, what is the purpose? Well, it was to persuade people to keep their gardens wildlife friendly. But the audience, we said, who is the target audience? Is it going to be for younger children, or is it actually going to be for older adults who might be retired and they might want to look after their gardens more? You've got to think about who you want to be reading your text. So it's who is reading it. Okay, so those are our two key terms for today. And it also has these two key terms in your book. So if you do have a look, in your books here, you can see you've got the key terms. So the purpose of the text is the reason why you are writing it, and the audience is about the person or the people who are going to be reading your writing. Okay, so that just gives us a little bit more information about what we are doing today. So let's just break it down a little bit. We've got our audience is the red box here. So it could be young children, it could be a friend, or it could be adults. Okay, so those are my three audiences. Now I've got three text types above me in the blue box, and I want us to link what text type would fit which audience. So is a newspaper going to attract young children? If we think about a newspaper, is that something that it's aimed at young children? No, it's not aimed at young children. Young children can have a go at reading it, but the main purpose is to inform, and it's to inform facts to adults. So I'm going to link newspaper to the audience of adults. Okay, so you can see how those two are linked together. And when we look at these key terms, they are linked in quite closely. Let's have a look at my second text type. So it's going to be a story. Are you writing the story for a friend to read, or are you writing the story for young children to read? So think about a story. Let's think about your favourite story some of you chose. Okay, so Aston Cooper, you chose the same one as me actually. You chose Charlie and the Chocolate Factory for your book review. Now, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, is that book specifically for one friend? No, it's not. It's for a collection of people, and those people are young children. So I'm going to link story to young children, which leaves me with my last two. But let's just have a look at it before I draw my line. So I've got a letter. Now, you could be writing a letter to a friend. It could be an invitation to a birthday party. So I'm going to put letter. The audience for a letter would be for a friend. Now, when you come to work in your books, you've got a very similar activity. However, there's a reading element to it as well. So you've got your three types of audience here. You've got a friend, young children and adults. You've got to read these three text types. So they're going to be in more detail than mine. Mine are just telling you what the types of text are. This gives you a little bit more information. So I want you to read through those three and then draw a line like we have done on the board to the ones that you think the purpose fits the target audience the best. And once you've done that, then you can come back to the video and we're going to move on to the next page. Okay, so hopefully you have finished section 1 of your learning. We're going to turn over the page now to section 2, and you can see these are my other two that I want us to work through for today's writing activity. So you've got section 2 and section 3 that are both highlighted that I've done in my books, and those are the only other two questions that we're going to focus on for today's learning. So if we look at question 2, you need to circle the option for which text, the purpose of the text type that it is. So it's going to give you an example, and then you're going to tell me whether it's informative, whether it's for entertainment, or whether it's persuasive. So you've got those three text types to choose from, and you're going to circle which one is best suited. Now, before you move on to question 2, let's just have a look at what these three text types mean. Okay, so when we say to inform, that means that we need to give information. So the word inform is short for information. So if you need to write an informative text type, it's going to include facts. So let's just write some notes here for when you come on to section 2, you'll know exactly which text type it's going to be. So we've got inform, it means to provide facts. Okay. So when we're looking at texts which inform, it means that they are providing facts. So if you've got an example in your book for question 2 and it's showing and it's providing facts, then it's going to be an inform text. Okay, so let's move on to the second one, which is entertain. Now, if you think about a text that needs to entertain, it needs to be enjoyable. So I'm going to put enjoyable here. Now, don't get me wrong, it could be that adults do enjoy reading a newspaper, but often it means that you enjoy reading the text and it also engages the reader as well. So it's often a storyline to it. So I'm going to put enjoyment, and I'm also going to put engagement. It means that you are guessing more, so you're having a look at the text type. Is it for enjoyment? Is it for your own entertainment? It's not so much factual, but it is providing you with some enjoyment and it engages you, so you want to read more of it. That's what we mean by entertainment. Okay, and my final one is for persuade. So when you are persuading somebody, that's a text tag where you want to get across your opinion and you want somebody else to believe in your idea. So it's to make someone believe you. For example, our persuasive text was to persuade people to make their gardens more wildlife friendly, and we were giving reasons to support that because it's good for wildlife, it's good to keep your garden tidy, and those were reasons we were persuading people to do that. Another persuasive text might be to persuade Mrs. Beckett to close the school on a snow day, and you would list all of the reasons why that's a brilliant idea. So when we talk about persuading people, that's what we mean when we are giving somebody else our opinion and making them believe our opinion as well. Okay, so when you come on to section 3, this is where it comes on to the learning question today, which is about planning your write. So you've got section 3 and you need to put each of these parts of your write into order, and you can do this by numbering them. So the first one that you're going to number is going to be your introduction, isn't it? So you're going to have introduction at the start. I'll just put intro for you to look at. The last thing that you're going to have is a conclusion. So that's going to be the last. And what you need to do at home is you need to fill in the order of what's going to happen. So this is a report for a class trip that they will be putting into a school newsletter. So you need to think about which is the start, so we know that's the introduction, which comes at the end, we know that's the conclusion, and then the rest of it is what's happened in order of the day. So you can do section 3 as well quite easily by just sectioning off what's happened in the day. So when you are writing a newsletter or an event of what's happened, we do have to have it in what we call chronological order, which means in order of events that have happened. Okay, so for your final part of the lesson in your writing today, you just need to circle 2 pieces of information that would go into the introduction of this writing. So what might go into the introduction? It's going to be something that hooks the reader and that is exciting for us to read as well. So those are 2 that you can choose yourself. Now I only want us to work from questions 1, 2 and 3 today. So 4 and 5 are going to be tomorrow's learning, so please don't go on to 4 and 5 for me. That's going to be for tomorrow's lesson. Now this is our first go at our writing booklet, so I hope you've enjoyed it, and it's a little bit different than doing our reading comprehension every day. Now I'm looking forward to seeing what you're going to have to send in to me, and if you've got any questions at all, just give me an email and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Good luck everybody.